Hey everyone, this is Mayan Gordon, and I am here to bring you guys a really special episode of my LinkedIn Live show. And that is that we are doing a live consultation today. Tim just popped in here. We were having a couple little technical difficulties getting him in, but he's in here right now. I wanted to start this right on time so you guys could see from the get-go how a consultation works with Mayan Gordon Media. That's the name of my company. And also, I think hopefully you guys are going to learn some things that are applicable to your business. So if anytime during this consultation you guys have questions, you know what to do. Throw them in the comments. I would love to see those questions. And also, where are you guys watching from? Post where in the world, city, state, country, doesn't matter. And one thing that you're grateful for today. We'll get that grateful banner up right now. And we're going to bring Tim into the room. How's it going, Tim? How are you doing?
Things are good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much. So I am excited that you are, willing to do this kind of live consultation with me. I think it is going to be really exciting. I have zero preparation for this, you guys, just so you know. I don't know what Tim's going to ask me about at all. I do typically do some small amount of prep for a consult, but honestly, you guys, I am a fly by the seat of my pants type of person. It doesn't help that much for me to do a bunch of background work. All of it's in the moment, real-time analysis. So let's get to it. First, why don't you introduce yourself? Give people a quick background on who you are and what is your business or your work that you do.
Yeah, so I work for a big media company in Canada and Post Media. So what we do is we come up with suitable solutions, strategies for our clients. Typically what my TikTok is about is a little bit of everything. Like I kind of went all over the place with it. So I kind of did that whole 60-40 mentality that everybody kind of utilized on, social media sites like Facebook, and I'm not sure if that's exactly right, because I've been now on TikTok for about a year, but I've really been doing it hardcore for probably about 4 to 5 months. And, the traction's okay on some stuff, but then you're kind of like, well, why do I only have 2,000 followers, and why do I only get like 300 views on this, or whatever the case may be. But in my thought process there, it's kind of like, well, should I be, theming my channel, and does that make more sense? Or, should I kind of keep it as light and airy, or should it be more informational if I'm trying to keep it more business oriented?
Awesome. Great question. So the first thing, kind of to summarize what you just said and asked is, typically what I ask in any coaching call is, what is the main thing that you want to get out of this conversation? Now, typically it's going to be confidence and clarity in a particular area. So it sounds like to me, and I'll just have you confirm this, that the area you want more clarity and confidence in is where to take your account and
Exactly.
where to really put the efforts that you're already putting into it, but in a way that's going to get you more for what you're doing. Certainly, I can definitely resonate with the feeling of trying really hard. And when you say consistently, that means you've been trying really hard. Let's not get it twisted, you guys. He's not been half-assing it. He's been putting in the work that people go, hey, if you put in this work, you're going to get good results. And he feels like he's not getting as good results as he really wants to be getting. Is that about right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. No, I think, this is a place that a lot of people can fall into when they have some natural ability for creating videos, when they have valuable information to share, but they don't understand all the nuance of what's working and what's not working for them. So typically in a situation like this, we're going to pull up your screen. We're going to pull up your TikTok account. Why don't you tell everyone? And this is fun, you guys. Everyone can pull up Tim's TikTok account and we can do some analysis together. So what is your TikTok account for everyone?
So it's Canadian marketing guy.
Easy. You guys pick an easy name. Canadian market guy.
Marketing.
Yep. Marketing guy. Yep.
There you go.
Awesome. All right. So if you guys see if I can get it to focus here. There he is.
That's it.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do is just give a brief kind of scroll over the account so I can kind of see what's going on here in terms of like the different types of content that you're already posting.
As I said, it's kind of all over the place. I've, posted, news articles and my kind of take on them, jokey type stuff, business oriented stuff, local type stuff, all that kind of stuff. But, what kind of direction, is really what I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's always important to, I would say, like pull out factors that are things you're repeating already, because those are going to be the easiest things for you to tweak versus saying, hey, here's something completely new, right? And what I noticed, just some things scrolling through that I noticed on your account, is you do have a lot of videos with your face, and I think that's really good. So I don't think everyone has to have them or a person be a part of your TikTok account.
Yep.
But if you do, I do think it gives you extra advantage, because people like people more than anything. More than I like anything else, I like other people. And also we love looking at other people. You guys, we're beautiful works of art. That's why, like, since thousands of years ago, we've been creating sculptures of people versus like trees, right? Trees are beautiful. How come we don't see any like awesome sculptures of like beautiful big trees they had back in the day? That's because just like we don't care really when compared to people. People are like the everything of what we care about. So the other thing I would say, definitely continue that. And then the other thing I notice just kind of popping out is I'm always looking for videos that did above average, right? That did really well. So I see there's this one video, and if anyone watching wants to scroll down, it's got 81,000 views, and it says breaking news. It's this one right here. And I'm gonna watch this video, and we're gonna see what's up with it.
Justin Trudeau mentioned today that anybody who's making under $2,500 as an essential worker will get that $2,500. So, like, what you're making plus whatever it takes to get to that $2,500, you're going to get it.
So this is really good. I'm going to let people hear it.
Today that anybody who's making under $2,500 as an essential worker will get that $2,500. So, like, what you're making plus whatever it takes to get to that $2,500, you're going to get it.
Awesome. So there's a couple things about this video that I want to point out to you and to other people. So one is you have a good headline. Before I clicked on the video and started watching it, and same thing as if it was scrolling up through my feed, I immediately am going to see breaking news and be curious. Like, it doesn't matter who I am. It does. Everyone, like, even people I know are trying to bait me. When I see breaking news, I'm like, what is it? It's like you have that curiosity factor. So anytime you can implement curiosity as a factor in the beginning of your video is really good. I would say this as a video, I would make this into a series. So, and I suggest this really for any video that does significantly, and this one did 100 times better than an average video for you, at least, 1,000 times better than some of your other videos, like literally 1,000 times better. So the reason I would make this into a series is because there's something about it that people really, really liked. And also it's about you. And if you're trying to brand build around you, that's really helpful, right? That's really good that people watched your face for all 10 seconds or 12 seconds, whatever it was. The other thing I notice is there's 118 comments, right? Comments are really good. So that indicates to me it's not just a video people wanted to watch. It like emotionally grabbed them enough to leave a comment. You do not leave comments if you had no emotional engagement. You just skip. So what I always do then is I read some of these comments. And you guys, if you are not reading the comments on your posts that do really well, you're missing out on a huge analysis and understanding opportunity.
I responded to every single one of them, I should mention.
Awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing. So let's see what a couple of these are. I'm calling bull on that one. Several people I know were denied. It's not true here. Okay, so this is actually good. This first comment, the guy's saying, I love that he wrote bull, B-O-W-L, instead of B-U-L-L, even though he means bullshit. So that's fun in and of itself. But basically, he's immediately being combative against what you said, which is actually really good. So if you can find touch points where people are going to feel where there's going to be controversy because people disagree or because there's a large amount of misinformation, those are really good topics to cover in your videos, because people are like really emotional about, being right? Especially these days, you guys, people are so emotional. I have to be right. And if you said something, I have to make sure you know that you're wrong. And it's not a great way that our society is kind of coexisting right now, but it is something you should take advantage of as a marketer, and tap into, especially because with good intention, it gives you extra opportunity to change people's minds and to educate people in a positive way. So controversy doesn't have to be bad. It can actually be really, really good. And then also, so the other major thing of why I think this video did really well, and you guys, excuse me, my voice is getting a little cracked from all the talking I've been doing today, but we will push through with this one. And it's that you touched on a sensitive issue that is current. So TikTok is very, very time sensitive in a cultural sense, that it shows more videos of what's happening right now. So like right now, there are tons of videos that will pop up on your feed, no matter what you've indicated to the app that you like about, like, prejudice and racism and protesting and the things that are going on in our society right now to deal with, I'd say, it's really just dealing with our social issues is how I describe it, right? We have like a lot of social issues as a country. Racism happens to be one of them, but there's many, many, many prejudices that we have that have been, I'd say, systematically kind of built into our society that we're clearly fed up with and trying to figure out. So touching on something so relevant and so, I'd say, widespread and where attention is definitely helps. So yeah, my advice would be make a breaking news series. And you could do even as much as one video a day, right? And it wouldn't, because it's a series. Here's the thing, you guys, when you create a series, it actually takes out so much of the work because you're plug and playing things into a structure. Like you have the structure, and I would say keep almost the whole structure of where you have the headline, and then you have a pop-up that, in case people can see it. He has another text that pops up after the static headline. So he's got a headline, it just stays there. But then in the middle of while he's talking, he has another text that says changes to Serb pop up. So I think that that's really good in general to have pop-up text in the middle, near the end, especially if it adds value to the video, can really keep and hold people's attention. And also, again, make them like it more, make them want to share it more, make them take an action towards it. And just every day pick a new breaking news headline that's relevant to that day. And I think that could be a really amazing series, not only in terms of views and likes and building up brand recognition for your face and what you're doing, but also just like really valuable to people. There's a lot of people who really are looking for news sources right now, me included. Like right now, I use LinkedIn as my primary news source because I don't want to sift through things. I don't have time to sift through garbage that I don't want to read. And I also don't want to accidentally put things into my head that I didn't mean to by reading garbage headlines, which I find a lot of websites have some garbage headlines to me that aren't things I want to be thinking in the first place. So, creating a little news channel or having a news segment as part of your overall channel, I think is something that could work really, really well. Now, to answer your question, do you have to say, let's just do that thing? Absolutely not. I really think it's more about consistency with the repetition than it is volume of the repetition. So for example, you could do one every day, but you also could do that series once a week, right? And it wouldn't be too dispersed. People would catch on. Now, it'd take them longer to catch on that this is a once a week thing, unless you started putting also as a pop-up week 1, week 2, week 3. Like there's ways to train the audience to expect repetition and to want repetition, to want more, so to speak. But the reason that, on television, they space out TV shows once a week is so that you're constantly wanting more of it. And you're thinking about it during the middle of the week, like what's going to happen next. Now, I think it's much harder to achieve that in a once a week format on TikTok because there's so much more noise. On the television, there's really only 100 channels. On TikTok, there's 1 billion plus channels. So I think that, that's why I always suggest more frequency is just, it increases your speed. Like if you want to get your account up in, a faster amount of time, putting out more videos does that. It simply does that. So the other thing I would do, though, is think of what are some of the other videos that you did well, and try and build off of those. So I'm just going to scroll again real quick here and see if I notice. I'm also going to look for any things that I identify as a good visual, and look at that video to see maybe a way you could tweak that. Because anytime you have a good sense of like visuals of like, ooh, this looks good, it's really good to work off that, because people have a hard time learning what looks good. So if you already know what looks good to some degree, that can be an advantage in my mind. So like I see this video with some bananas in it that's really grabbing my attention. So I'm going to look at that one, because I think there's some things in my head that I know like people like. There's things about food, certain foods people like are weird about, like avocados. There's just like this weird number of people who are weirdly in love with avocados. Same thing with bananas. And then I'd say classically bananas have a funny connotation to them, because, you know, classically banana peels are used in cartoons to make people slip. Also, there's many like kind of funny banana characters throughout many different media outlets and times in history. So let's see, it's a cinnamon banana bites. So this is going to be a recipe one. So the first thing I noticed in this one is you use the same text color, like you used yellow on top of yellow. No, you want contrast. So generally you want, I'm not going to, honestly, because the colors are the same, this is a interesting trick your brain does. But it goes, I'm not going to look at the words because they're the same color as the banana, and the banana is more interesting.
Sure. Okay. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so I would change that to maybe either like blue. Blue's a great contrasting to yellow, right? But still looks good. It's still complementary. Or, you know, I would say purple. I like to use purple a lot because it's unnatural as a color. And so we're just kind of like look at purple a lot of times. But like purple, blue, you could even experiment with red, again, because there'd be contrast, it'd still be bright. Red's a like stop, look at me color. Their red is not I don't think they have as good a red. Unfortunately, TikTok, they have like only very set color choices. It's like 15, 16 different colors. And they're not the normal, for people who are watching, they're not like the normal strong red, deep blue. It's like a blue purple and like a baby blue. And then there's the red's kind of like more of a almost a pink hue to it. There's no straight red. So that's kind of why I'm like on the red. Just they don't have the particular shade that I think is really eye-catching. But you guys, these little things make big differences in how your brain reacts right away in the first 3 seconds of a video. And that's going to determine.
I never thought of it like that. I was just kind of like, well, what would kind of look cool like this? And what would, you know, and I have studied color theory, and it's funny that you brought that up because it never really occurred to me. And it's kind of like, yeah, that makes perfect sense now. Like,
yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
Course, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's a great example for people listening. A lot of what I do with coaching is not teaching you something you didn't know. It's helping you understand that something you already did know is incredibly applicable for a very particular reason. And so, again, part of why I'm not going to read this has to do with the color. But part of it also has to do with there's a lot of cuts. And I can't read and watch the cuts at the same time. I simply have to make a choice because the cuts they're like they're pretty fast cuts, right? They're not multiple seconds. What your brain goes is I don't want to miss anything. And so it focuses hard in on the objects that are moving. And now that can be a good strategy for if people like the video enough and are curious about what the text said to rewatch it and go, now I'm just going to watch it for the text. I think in this case, part of why that doesn't happen is your text is static. So if the text was popping up and disappearing, even though it would still actually make it harder for me to read, it would flash my attention sensor in my brain in a more strong way to make me a little bit more curious to go back and read it. Yeah, because, and especially if, like here, I'll show people again. It's a cooking video. So bananas, brown sugar, all the ingredients at first, and then he's showing the steps real quick. So this is a good series. You can do cooking series videos do very well. People love to watch food. People love to watch food in action, which is cooking or preparation, like plating.
And I'm not very good at cooking, so that's why I thought I'd try it, because I'm like, well, if this is as simple as it seems, maybe other people would do it too, right?
That is such a good point. Yes. So yes, 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 yes. Cooking and food is not only popular because we're hungry and we like food, but it's very relatable. Like if I watch a video and someone takes a banana, which is something I don't have it around all the time, but I could have it around all the time, and does something simple to make something that looks delicious, in my head, whether I'm going to ever make it or not, I go, oh, that's cool. I'm going to make that. I'm going to try it. And that's very satisfying for us to think that we're going to try something new, because what happens is we go through a micro moment of experiencing the future, or of living in that moment that isn't actually existing, but we're living emotionally in it and in our head for a split second. When we say, oh, I'm going to make that, really we're visualizing making it and eating it. And we're like kind of getting to experience it in a very micro sense. So the way that I would change your setup, because I think you have a good amount of time. Like this video's, it's like, I would guess 8 to 12 seconds. Like it's nice and short, really good. It's got good music. It's got not great lighting. It's a little like some of the food shots are good, but in general, it's kind of dark.
Right.
So a way to fix that in general is either a light stand, or like sometimes having your flash on can work, but sometimes it makes it really glary and kind of unattractive. The other way is with one of TikTok's filters. So I am going to we're going to download, let's see. Oh, you don't have your download settings on. Otherwise, I was going to download the video and show you, but the filters you access through swiping across the screen. Yep. And there's a couple of them that will really brighten up even a pretty dark image. I would look at S5 is the name of one of the filters. The other ones I like, F1 is pretty bright. So it's the first one you swipe over. That one's pretty bright. S5, as far as I've discovered, is the brightest. So it'll take shadows and really lighten them up. The other thing is, let me look at it again. So you have the ingredients listed. Instead of having the ingredients listed, like you kind of have them listed visually. Mm-hmm. Instead, I would have the ingredients without any wording, just showing those ingredients at first, letting people focus in on that, like switching. And then as you were cooking it, that's when I'd have the steps pop up. I'd say step 1, do this. And I would maybe put those portions of the video a little longer. So I think I love that the first parts are like quick, like ingredients, boom, 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 ingredient. But then for the steps take longer, right? So, and people want to read more about the steps. So I'd have, step 1, cut up the bananas, or maybe that's already prepped up. So like step 1, throw the bananas in the pan. And a lot of times action items work well with those steps. So instead of showing the bananas just in the pan, like literally you holding the bananas and dropping them in the pan is more visually engaging.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, so I would definitely try out more. If you enjoyed making that type of video, then I would try out more of those. Like for me, I enjoy making videos on things that I don't normally do. So like I enjoy making cooking videos, even though I don't enjoy cooking, because making the video of it makes the cooking more fun. Right. Like literally, it's a more creative. Cooking's like, to me, not a creative process. I know other people feel completely the opposite. They're like, you get to choose all these things. And for me, it's like work, cutting, work, cleaning, work, putting things in the pan, work. But if I'm thinking about how to make it look good the whole time, now it's all of a sudden like art and creative and like, ooh, oh yeah, that'd be such a cool shot. If I did that, that'd look awesome. And for me, that visual reward is honestly much more motivating than the food I'm making and like eating something tasty. Like it's more exciting for me to make a good video than it is to make a delicious food. But when I combine those two things together, it makes something that you didn't really find fun all of a sudden fun. So this is, a really cool way to think about what are things I don't normally do or try that maybe I do want to do. And this can be something that helps motivate you. I want to pause now and let you ask me any questions that you might have based on all the things that I've said so far.
Okay, so there's a few things that kind of confuse me that I've come across, right? So like one thing is I've heard that like having kids in videos like is a bad thing. One of the first videos that actually went viral for me was of my daughter at a water park, which was just weird, right? So
Right.
like, I kind of thought that, and then it's like, well, every other video that my daughter wanted to do or whatever, it just doesn't do well because she's a kid, I guess. Is that kind of a thing, or is
So let
that?
me clear that up. Yeah. So the real issue is around like child privacy laws, and it's about a privacy and a protection thing for kids. So it's not that TikTok doesn't like videos with kids. In fact, it loves videos with kids.
Yeah.
The thing to be aware of, though, is that if the account is owned by an adult, which is you, that TikTok will flag or become aware if you all of a sudden are having kids in your like, to them that's worrisome, right? Which it should be. Like, that's actually a very cool thing that they have, is like, all of a sudden there's kids in this adult's videos. Like, we have to look at that. Now, if it's your daughter and she's going to appear regularly, that's different. That's allowed. I think where people have had issues is where the account's been theirs. Like, I think it might have helped that the very first video was of her, because they didn't recognize necessarily that it was an adult's account. And there are plenty of, there's millions and hundreds of millions of like real kids, like I'm talking 6 years old, who have their own accounts. Mostly they're set to private, but there's some 6-year-olds out there who are flaunting their stuff, like doing their thing, whatever.
Right.
And so that's the issue. Now, TikTok loves kids. Like, a lot of its users are kids. It's really just that being aware, if you start bringing other kids into your videos that aren't your daughter, you might trigger this issue, the security issue that they have.
Which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, so that's it. There's no penalization in terms of like the algorithm or number of views. I would imagine that the water park video did really well because of water parks being something that kids really love, and again, something very relatable. And if the other ones were kind of just her at home, or
it was pretty indistinguishable too, so it was kind of like general, very general. Like, it's not like you saw her face or anything like that. It was just
totally,
kind of, hey, check this out. And it's funny though, because I had posted it originally, and then it didn't do well, and then I reposted it, and it just went like bananas. And,
so that's another thing. Let's talk about that then.
Sure.
And this is totally something that happens all the time. In fact, usually it happens in reverse. Usually people will post something, it does really well, they try and post it again, and it does much, much less well. And they're like, well, how is that possible? It's the same video. Why would it get different amounts of views? And that's because TikTok can tell when you want to watch things. And let's be honest, no matter how much you love any type of content, you don't want to watch that content all of the time. There's like certain times you're in the mood to watch something. And you might think, how could they possibly know when I'm in the mood? And it's because they have the data from like everything you've ever done on your phone. So it's really just that sometimes people are much, much more interested to watch a particular type of content, and the app picked up on it and delivered. And most of the time that doesn't happen. Like, that's where I'd say like you got luck. Like, definitely, I hate using the word luck because it's more like probability. But you lined up your probability with where the attention was, and you won, so to speak. Like, your video hit the number. And this is why I think series and repetition is another really, really good thing. It gives you better probability for having viral videos, right, versus the randomness. So I think, randomness is a great place to start, you guys. Like, for anyone listening who hasn't started their TikTok yet because they don't know what to post, it's like, just start posting something. Like, post a video of your dog, post a video of your food, like post some videos, start building up some amount of data to look at and compare against. And I think it's likely that if you make some decent amount of effort within the first 3 months, you'll have at least one video that, let's say, did, 10 times as good as the rest of them, meaning like 10,000 views or better. And if you're starting out, all your videos will get between 3 and 0 really, and let's say typically a couple thousand views starting out. Like, a really good video with a starting account is like 3,000-4,000 views. That's really good. But when you get that first 10,000 view, and I think, again, if you're making effort, you'll get one of those in the first 3 months with the consistency, because of this timing factor. Like, you don't really know why people liked that video so much. But if you keep coming back to it, looking at it, experimenting, iterating based off that one video, you tend to figure out, oh, it was this thing that people liked about it. And like, I didn't know. Huh?
I think a big part of it was the song that was used, or the song that was suggested by TikTok. It really, like, it just changed the whole flow of the video from the original song, which was actually taken down. So
Totally. Yes. No. So absolutely. That can be another thing. And that's a fun thing, I think, to experiment with if you're not too tied to the results of like what you're. So, right. Some people feel very protective of their account and the content on it. Some people are completely the opposite, where it's like, I don't really care what's on there. I'm just trying to learn things. Like, I'm having fun with this. So if you're in that particular bubble, I think that it really helps to play the same video with different songs, so you can start to understand more about, one, what type of music's popular on TikTok, but two, what type of music works with certain videos to get an emotional feel. Because music's probably, and sound's probably, one of the most powerful contributing factors to any video feeling like something. And literally, it's a fun exercise, you guys, to put up a video of anything. Like, literally take a video of like your laptop, move over to your dog, zoom in, something really simple, and then put like a rock track to it. You know, and then like switch it and put some classical music, and then like put some like pop song, and you'll see how like the same image can feel totally different based on the music. And so I think that, you know, it's one of the most powerful parts of TikTok, outside of the very large visuals, which I think do play very significantly into how do people react to videos on the app. But the other is sound and music. And you just can't help feeling a certain way when you hear certain types of music. In fact, this is a therapy technique or tool that many people use, or just, you know, a mental health tool, so to speak, that when you're feeling really, really crappy and you feel like you can't do any, you know, maybe if you went on a walk, you'd feel better, or, you know, if you did this, you'd feel better. But you're in that space where like, you can't, that you can play a song that you like, because we just have this love for music. And if it's a happy song, you will feel happy by the end of the song, especially if it's one of your favorite songs. And that's powerful. Like, the fact that you can completely change how you feel in a very short amount of time based on sound is just incredible, and something we've only very, you know, recently started to tap into or even recognize, I think, as a society. So definitely experiment. If you find a video and you thought it like, or if you made a video and you thought that the video was good, but it didn't perform well, try posting that video again with a different sound or music, and see if it was a really good video, but just the sound didn't help it in the way it needed to help it to like achieve that effect.
On that same topic, I've heard that recently the algorithms changed for business type accounts, where certain songs are, because they're copywritten, they're not allowed to be used. Did you want to
okay, yeah. So there have been recent changes with the copyright issues around music, because this is my opinion, because labels realized that the artists don't need them anymore, and so they went, oh, we got to protect the music that we've signed and put all this money into. How are we going to get paid as the label if people are using the artist's music for free? Now, I think it's honestly a really good thing for, you know, the music artists to be playing their music for free on a platform that gets them billions of views. That's worth way more than a licensing deal. Typically, like, licensing deals, they're nice, but it's not life-changing the way that literally one TikTok, you know, song blowing up is life-changing for that artist. And I've seen numerous artists who already have had their entire careers gone from zero to like, they're in the game now and they're talking with people, they're making deals like on a real big level. And you know what? They're not making deals with other labels and producers. They're making deals with other artists. They're like, hey, other artists, do you want to collab on a song? So I think, you know, labels are scrambling to try and protect what they've built as an empire. But their resources are not as valuable as they used to be to these artists. So I think that's just an interesting thing to think about. But yes, as a business doing a sponsored post, you are not supposed to use music content outside of their commercially licensed library. So they did create a section of music where they're like, these are all commercially licensed. You guys can use these in any type of paid promotion. It's not just through TikTok. It's like in general, when as a business, you're not supposed to use someone's music in your advertisement. You're supposed to pay them or get permission.
Even organically, I had one that that was just kind of flagged, and they're like, "We're not going to run this because it's an Eminem song," you know. Like so, you know, they were like, and that was the first time I'd heard of it, and then I came across somebody else who posted about this change, and
so it's not a change. It's not a change in the algorithm. So it's not like there's no difference between a business account and a personal account on TikTok. All the accounts are the same. There's no flagging outside of verification. But you know, people, you're not a business if you're verified. That just means you're part of this kind of like select group of data that they value more. Like that's really is. Yes, they value us very much as people, but it's the data that we're producing that they really, really value. And they want us as people to continue producing that data. So I would say, you know, it's not something you have to worry about unless you're participating on the influencer side of a paid promotion or the brand side of a paid promotion. Right. If you're just creating videos to promote your stuff, then that's fine. Again, now where it gets tricky is, okay, what if my entire page is like, let's say I'm Sephora. Like if you have a brand named page, then you should probably at least start right now making that switch. Now, again, like there's not going to be, I think, any big penalizations. Also, I'm not a lawyer or an attorney, so don't take my advice as legal advice. But right now it's more people saying, hey, like, this isn't cool. It's not like people going after anyone because TikTok's a new platform. It's been wide open in terms of putting the music on there. But it is probably smart to think about that if this continues in this fashion where music artists really do want to get paid for any type of play of their music, that you'll want to have access and you'll want your videos to have that commercially licensed music, because here's what happens is even if when you created the video, it was okay and there weren't any rules about putting the music up with it, if they change their mind later and they say all of a sudden now you do have to pay, they can ask you to take down those videos. Now, again, you might be on the spectrum where you're like, I don't care at all. I already got the followers from the video. Like, I really don't give a shit. Right. But you might be someone who's like, oh, I really like love that video's up on my page and it has like 60 million views, or like people still see that video and like I get, you know, messages off of that and it helps my business, or I want to reuse that video many times. It's like, okay, then you're safer if you have the commercially licensed music. Right. So it's a safe play in my mind. It's not so much a like, there's no penalization right now as far as I know or have heard of in any context. I'm going to see real quick on, we got a couple comments here on the side. What's up, everyone who's watching? By the way, thank you guys so much for commenting where you're watching from and some of the things that you're grateful for today. We got Jenny from New Zealand. That is super cool. We got Sharon from North Georgia Mountains. That sounds really beautiful as well. Let's see. Do you think that there's a fixed formula for going viral no matter what the niche is? Ooh, that's a really good question. No, absolutely not. There's way too many factors. Again, it's a probability game. And in probability games, there's never a fixed anything. So, you know, depending on what's going on in the world at the time makes a difference in terms of what videos are going to go viral. You know, how familiar people are with you already determines how, you know, viral your videos are going to be going. So those two factors alone mean that like literally every video you make changes your chances of going viral and changes the dynamics of going viral. Now, when it comes to niche or niche, as they say, depending on your pronunciation, it really, here's how I kind of have seen it by working. I do work with other brands in different niches. So I have kind of a good viewpoint and spread on this, is that some niches are really popular, and popularity gives you a better chance at being seen by more people. Like there's a wider audience. But just like in the real world, there's also more competition. So you have to be particularly unique or really, really good at making that type of content within a really popular category. Now, then there's medium and small categories of content or verticals. I think a medium category is probably the best place to be. So for example, I would say, so what's like a medium one would be a particular type of art. So art is the big mega category. Glass blowing is actually quite a small category. But let's say painting. I'd say painting is a medium category because it's really strong. There's a lot of painters, but like you can have a very different, unique, particular type of painting than everyone else. And so there's really not too much competition for you, but still a ton of interest in an audience. So I think, that's how I like to approach thinking about different verticals or content categories. One that'd be really small, for example, would be, say, identifying birds. So like, there's a lot of people out there who are really into birds and like bird identification and bird watching. But there's not a lot of content on TikTok that does very well with that. Same thing with I'd almost say any other animal that's not a main animal like dog or cat or whatever. Like, for example, snakes. I happen to know through my glass blowing customer base that there's actually a huge number of people who are really, really, really into snakes. Like they collect snakes, they breed snakes. There's some snakes, you guys, that are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're like albino and super dope. Like it's crazy. And there's tons and tons of people who are really, really into that. Like that's probably the kind of content they want to watch. But if you as a snake person went onto TikTok, you'd have a challenge in creating viral videos because there just isn't a lot of that content, and people have not indicated that they're interested to watch snake content. Now, of course, with any content category, and this is the cool thing about TikTok, no matter what the content category is, no matter how many or few people are interested in that type of content, you can still have a viral video in that content category by creating a visually enjoyable 10-second video. I don't have to be interested in, let's say, what do they call that? Curling. I don't have to actually be interested in curling to watch a 10-second clip of the puck like knocking out the other pucks perfectly, right? I might still really enjoy watching that video for like reasons that have nothing to do with the subject matter and everything to do with the way that things looked in the video. So like I could certainly think of some snake videos that could go viral because you would go, whoa, that was crazy. Or like, right, snakes visually are pretty interesting. But like, do I want to watch a snake slithering? No, that's boring. Do I want to see a snake do something else maybe that's really visually engaging? Absolutely. I want to see anything visually engaging. As a human being, like I value that, and so do you. So that's what I'd say about content categories. Again, once you have a lot of content on a page like yours, I think it's good to break down into series. That way, one, it makes it actually easier for you to film your stuff. You're like, I've got 5 series I like to do. Which one am I doing today? Cool. Boom, boom, boom. Knock it out. And I love, once you get into that groove with TikTok, it feels really good too because it opens up the space in your mind for more creative ideas, either new ideas or tweaking your current ideas. Because like you'll have the structure set. You'll be like, in my breaking news stories, I start like this. I say like the question, or I say like a headline. Like the more you break it down, the more you'll break it down. Meaning the more you actively start to categorize and plan and organize things, the more your brain will assist you and start doing it more and more, and go, oh, I noticed that we use this word every time in this sentence. And like, it feels good. We say it with like this style, right? Like you'll start to notice that, oh, I can put a little more emphasis into this word, or I can start to do this a little bit better. Or you'll have the idea, you'll be like, oh man, today I want to wear a shirt that has something to do with the thing I'm talking about. Oh, what a cool idea. Like, let's see if people pick up on that, right? You'll just start adding more and more layers to why it's a good video. And there's, I think, a certain point with any type of video that you can create where if there's a certain number of layers that match up in a way that is pleasing to me, I all of a sudden go, whoa, that was such a great video. So examples of that would be, we love, love, love when lyrics match what's happening in the video. Like, especially when particular lyrics, like when nothing matches in the video, and then in fact, there's a whole series of these TikTok videos where you're doing something, there's a song playing, and then right at the end, you like lip sync the last two words because they have exactly to do with what you were doing before. And you're like, oh, the song was actually about what they're doing. And it's like super pleasing to us, even when it's a stupid
that have
video.
double meanings, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Like
double entendres. Exactly.
bored in the house.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think those are ways to, I'd say optimize your account and give it some direction. Is look at what you've already made and take that and break it into some series. And then once you have these series, then you can put more effort and focused effort into each of these series, and really start not only feeling like you're building progress because you get to test something and like see a result and then either test it more or go, that thing didn't help, and move on to another thing. And that's like, you guys, a guaranteed way to optimize things is test, weed out, retest. Weed out, retest, right? Like trimming the fat is a time old saying for businesses, but that's kind of what I'm suggesting with videos is figure out what your videos are and start trimming the fat, or adding flair, adding the extra sparkle to it. And it's usually a combination of both, right? Taking out things that are too boring or unemotional or don't help, and at the same time adding in things that do add that emotional value, that do help in terms of the, the vibe or the energy that you're trying to deliver through the video. Because a lot of what a video is just a vehicle for delivering some type of energy, right? And if you're able to successfully deliver that energy into the person, now they have to do something with it, which is a comment, a like, you guys, when you have energy, you have to do something with it. Us as human beings cannot sit still with energy, right? That's why kids are like all over the place, can't sit still because they have too much energy. And I think as adults, we've really kind of like let a lot of our energy go, and not tried to get it back. And energy is incredibly, incredibly powerful, not just in your life, but especially through video, because it's why we watch videos, and also because there's always some amount of energy lost through digital space. Meaning when you walk into a room, you can feel what the energy is. You can feel if people are sad, you can feel if people are happy. I can't pop into a Zoom meeting and as well feel that. Now, to some degree I can, because I can see people's faces and we can read energy, but it's not that I'm not feeling it the same way in a room you physically feel it. And I think that that's, really important to be aware of, that on video, typically you have to, what do they call it? Like, enunciate your emotions, so to speak. So you have to not necessarily over portray what you mean, but amplify. So if you want your video to be something where people saw that you were a little bit goofy or had a goofy vibe, it helps to be extra a lot goofy, because a lot of it's lost in translation through video. And also because we always perceive ourselves more than other people will perceive us, strangers. So I might be worried when I make a video, I look stupid when I'm too goofy, right? Other people won't see the stupid because they're only barely going to see the goofy. Like I think goofy because I'm thinking about other people who know me in a business sense, who don't see that side of me. But for everyone else who's watching me through TikTok, they don't know I'm a business person. Like, they see what I post. And so if I want to show them that I'm goofy, I have to be like really goofy. Otherwise, they're not going to get that I'm doing anything different in the first place. They're like, my 7-year-old friend wears polka dot shirts with striped pants. Like, what are you talking about? You're goofy, lady. Like, the context of which we see ourselves, again, is just very different from the context in which other people see us. And so it's really important to be aware of that through video. How are people perceiving you in a different way than you're perceiving yourself? And then start to tap into that, because video is not who you are. It's a construct. You get to choose, and you can decide to be a character version of yourself if you want in your videos, which I highly suggest, you guys, because time old, the time-aged rule is that people like characters more than they like people. So, right, we love nothing more than people other than characters that we create out of people. And the reason we love characters so much is because they're consistent, and people are not, right? People have these moods and act out of character. I'll be one way my whole life, so, seemingly, and then one day I'm like angry all of a sudden, or right, like one day I'm like really mean to people, or like there's all these character variations that we can have as a real human being. And people don't like that typically. It's not something that we go, oh, she's being so different today. Wonderful. Like it puts people off. They're like, like why is she so different today? Like what's up with her? She does not seem the same. And especially through video, right? We want something we can come back to that we're familiar with, that's relatable to us. And characters that have strict qualities are more relatable, even though they're less real, because we know exactly what they are. And in any given moment, we know exactly what we are. Now, that changes all the time, but we're always very certain about how we feel and about who we are, outside of existential crises. And so that's why we like to watch characters that have strong traits, who like have strong personalities, so to speak. So for anyone watching this, you're thinking, I don't really have a strong personality. How can I benefit from like what you're saying? And I think that, if you don't have a strong personality, one, that's totally okay. But realize that's a bad thing in video, and that you'll have to create a character that has a stronger personality, or you have to create some type of, like, you don't have to be the character, but you have to create some brand personality, or you have to account personality, right? Like your channel, your account can have its own personality that you craft in other ways outside of you appearing and being emphatic on screen. But it does take more effort. It takes more work. Like, it's really easy as a human being to amplify. It might feel uncomfortable the first couple times you've done it, but it's really easy to be more angry than you are, or to be much more like flimsy and dainty, right? Like, acting's not hard, you guys. It's just not practiced, and it's not always comfortable. But
Sure.
The skill of acting is a very, very valuable skill in video. And as video becomes more and more important, brands, businesses, people are either going to have to become good at acting in some degree, or they're going to have to outsource that part. The same way that everything, either as technology is pushed, you either have to learn or outsource, right? Like, same with websites. Now, there might be some end-all solution, the same way there is with websites, of like, you can either have a plug-and-play templated website that's very easy for anyone, or you can there's a million companies who build websites out there. So there are solutions outside of you learning it yourself. But at some point, you had to learn it. Otherwise, you had no access to a custom website. And so we're kind of in this space with video where it's kind of that newness, where like there aren't turnkey solutions yet. There's a bunch being worked on. There's like a bunch of really smart software developers teaming up with videographers who are trying to work on AI-driven solutions for editing videos in phenomenal ways, right? Maybe that's coming, but is that going to be 5 years? Is it going to be 2 years? Is it going to be 10, 20 years? No one knows. And in the meantime, that skill of acting, of character development, of anything to do with video creation is very, very valuable.
Great. Well,
All right.
thank you, Mayan. It's been really enjoyable and educational.
Yeah, awesome. So I've got some homework for you. I always like to leave people with a little bit of homework, whether you choose to do it or not. And that would be to, like, tonight or whenever, as soon as possible, sit down, go through your videos, and write down all the categories that you see in a video. So like every video, give it a category and have it either be a new one on your sheet of paper or tally it in a content category you already wrote down. So, cooking, boom. And then after you write down the first cooking one, every time you come to another cooking one, you just give it a tally. This will allow you to see, one, where are the categories you're already creating in, and how much do you kind of like creating in each category. And you'll notice, you'll be like, oh man, I had way more tallies in this particular type of content. That must mean I like it more. And you'll kind of know, you'll feel it too. You'll be like, oh yeah, I do really like making those videos. And then I would say, cut out all of them, but let's say 5. 5 would be like the max number. If you feel only really, really good about 3, have 3. If you feel really only good about 1 or 2, have those 1 or 2, but maybe think of a new one that you're excited to add and try as a series. And then I want you to message me what those 3 to 5 or 2 to 5 content categories are. And I'm really excited to kind of follow your progress on your account. But I think if you start with that tonight or tomorrow, and then you just take action in following in those categories, that you can put in the same amount of effort you've been putting in and really start to build more traction.
Okay. Well, thanks again.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Just in case other people are interested to, let's say, follow up with you and either learn more about your experience with TikTok and what you've done so far, or just, see after this, like, hey, did that help? Did her advice work for you? Like, what have you done since then? How would they get in touch with you? What's the best way?
Well, my LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is the best way.
Awesome.
My second best way, I guess, you could connect with me through TikTok. Again, that's Canadian Marketing Guy.
Canadian Marketing Guy. I'm going to type that in the comments here real quick. So, right, it doesn't let me type in on StreamYard yet. So I will type it in on LinkedIn in the comments after this. And yeah, you guys follow him on TikTok. Start engaging with his content. I think it'll be really cool. One of the things that I really do think helps if you're on this TikTok journey is find some other people who are at the relative same place as you, or maybe just a little bit ahead of you, and kind of follow them, talk with them, because one of the best things you can do as a content creator that will accelerate you is actively, regularly talking with other content creators about what you're doing and about what they're doing. Because through that conversation, like I would definitely find 2 or 3 other people, and if you can find people to start a little group, like a little accountability group, where you each are posting like, here's my idea of what I'm posting today, or like, hey guys, could you check out this video? Like, here's why I thought it would do really well, but it didn't. Like, do you guys notice anything, right? You could get that feedback I'm kind of giving you right now on a regular, consistent basis. That would be, I think, incredible to helping you see things and move forward in a very significant way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. If anyone watching this wants to get in touch with me, you can also contact me through LinkedIn. I'm going to throw out my email address as well. I absolutely love helping people, not only with TikTok, but also with LinkedIn, with email marketing. You guys, I love email marketing. It's not dead. Through, I'd say, overall digital marketing strategy. I haven't dove into a lot of paid advertising systems yet. I do plan to test them out at some point, probably in the near future, but I've never had to, because I am so strong in organic advertising, and there's so much added benefit you get from organic that anytime I can build out more systems and invest more into organic types of communication, that I always do that. And so I just really quickly want to talk about that. A lot of people are really focused on paid advertising because they need sales in, not realizing that there's a better system that can create that drives sales. So paid advertising is a great system for driving sales, but creating a content system that drives sales, I think, is more effective, because it doesn't just drive sales right now. It compounds customers to drive sales later as well. So let's say you create a communication system that, with every 100 communications, organic communications that are driven to you, you convert 1 sale. That at the same, and I'm talking like on a day-to-day basis, like you convert 1 that day. Right. At the same time, you're probably also putting 5 to 10 of those other people you communicated with into a portion of your funnel, so to speak. I hate the word funnel. I'll have to come up with a different one, but into a portion of your, let's say, value creation, where they value what you're giving them. Like, you're delivering value to them. Now, do they want to purchase your service? Do they want to purchase your product yet? No, but they're getting there. Like, they're going to. We all have this, I'd say, value system inside of us, most of us, where if someone gives us a certain amount of value, for me to feel like I'm a good human being, I'm going to give them something back. And this has happened to me so many countless times with glassblowing, where people go, do you have something I can purchase from you? Like, they literally aren't looking for something to buy. They're like, do you have something I could buy from you? Because I want to give you money for the value that you've delivered to me through this conversation. And that is something that, what happens is, you keep getting a sale a day. You get a sale a day. And then like Tuesday, you get 4 sales, because like 3 of those other people you've been talking to decided now that they want to pull the trigger, or decided, hey, I got enough value, like I feel obligated to participate. And this is something I love about organic that you just don't get through paid advertising. And I think where people are scared to go more into organic is they go, yeah, but like, what if I get zero out of it? What if I get zero sales? And it's true, but you should be equally scared of getting zero sales through paid advertising as you should through, I would say, bad content marketing. I think there's just many fewer real, people who are really experts, so to speak, in content marketing, in organic marketing throughout a 10-year period where you have to adjust. I think anything can work for a year or two. Now it's a lot shorter. Now it's more like 3 to 6 months that something can work. But if it only works for that amount of time and you don't know what to do afterwards, it's very, very scary. With paid advertising, it's very easy to, I would say, adapt to the changes that are happening. Like, yes, the change happens. It sucks because your like conversion rate goes down, but then you change like 3 different factors or variables, and it can go back up quite easily and quite quickly.
It's just like search engine optimization versus running conversion ads.
Right.
Your SEO is going to be the long game, right? Where you're telling your story, just like TikTok. And then you have your paid where it's right now, right? So
right, yeah. So I think though that the thing is with content marketing and organic marketing, when it's done right, it's not a long game. It's equally effective as sales marketing. So for example, let's say you have $500 to spend, and you could choose Facebook ads, or you could choose, let's say, getting an article out with a backlink to your website or a backlink to your social page on, let's say, 1,000 different blogs that got various amounts of traffic. None of them huge, but all different various amounts of traffic. If that blog post is written correctly, you will guaranteed get sales and customers from it immediately, especially if you are choosing the right partner. So now, is that harder to achieve than understanding how to write a killer Facebook ad? I would say probably, maybe a little bit, but probably not. I think that it's just much easier to test and get data back from paid advertising currently. There's no, let's say, platforms that give you vast amounts of data on your organic. And that's where people feel scared, is like, if it doesn't work, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't do 20, in Facebook, you can test out 50 different Facebook ads, see which one works, and put all your money into like those ones that work. I think there's a similar strategy you can do with content marketing, but there's, no one is advertising that they're offering that as a service, so to speak. And that's something, I don't even offer that as a service yet, but it is something kind of where I'm working towards, because I realize how much, if you can systemize and say this works for organic, it crushes paid advertising every single time. Especially in
I do, and I have to say, like, we marry the two together. The idea of having the organic and having the paid, kind of works
exactly.
really well.
If you can have them work together, that's a winning scenario. Which is why, even though I don't need to have paid advertising, it's something I am very much looking into and thinking about how it can best marry. I like that you marry with kind of my organic, because I think especially if you have organic marketing first, that actually you can get a lot more value out of your paid advertising, because it'll tie into the organic in ways that just are much stronger in terms of how marketing's done, right? So I really believe that subliminal forms of marketing are much more powerful than direct, fully conscious forms of ad. Like, you're not going to convince me to buy something that you want me to buy if I don't already want to buy it from seeing an advertisement. But like, if I subliminally see some things and in my head think, ooh, I want that, like, you've now not tricked me, but right, like, you've done the same thing. You'd advertised to me, but I think I want it now from my own cognition and own like senses, which is much more powerful, because like, no one convinces me what I do and do not want, and I say I want it. So I think, paid advertising should be much more of an assist in that format of, I think, driving more subliminal types of advertising along with direct sales. But we're in a Wild West game in digital space right now, I really feel, in terms of what's worked for 20 years is starting to not work at all.
Right.
And things that have never worked before are all of a sudden working really well. And there's new technologies like there's never been before. Like the number of new software is being developed this year in 2020 is probably more than all the other years that have ever existed of the internet. And that's a bold claim, but I really believe that, especially due to COVID and all these amazing programmers who lost their jobs. They're like, well, I'll just build something myself. And they're really smart, you guys. Like all over the world, hundreds of millions of people are building things in a technology sense that are going to make everything about what we do much more viable. And when everything becomes more viable, you no longer rely on the things that worked because people were getting tricked or because there weren't other options or there wasn't this or there wasn't that. And it really allows, I'd say, like the cream of the crop to rise to the top. Ooh, that rhymed quite nice. But so, if you can focus on really creating value now and not figuring out how to get sales, not figuring out how to get this or do that, like really, what is value? Ask yourself, what is value? How am I creating it? And it'll launch you into an entirely new space, an entirely different set of competitors. That is a much, much better place to be because competing in sales is hard. And I'm talking with as someone who's focused on branding, I'm now talking with people who've built multi-million dollar, hundreds of $1 million sales companies, and they don't know how to get new customers right now, even with they have proven success, and they don't really understand how to get followings or build customers on these different platforms now that they've become so crowded, because they relied on things that don't work anymore. They relied on direct sales marketing where they would cold message people and get a significant amount of responses. I mean, even just responses, not anything like leads, just people even responding, right? Like, let's say 3 years ago, you would get a ton of responses of people at least curious. And now these same people are getting 0 responses to their outreach message. And it's not a terrible message, but it has some amount of sales element, and people immediately are like not even willing to listen anymore to anything sales. And so they're realizing, man, that was my whole thing, was get a foot in the door. Once I had my foot in, that's where I got to be a salesperson. I'm great at being a salesperson, but what do I do if they won't even respond to me? What do I do if people won't even listen to me at all? And that's where I think, building a brand based on some type of real value you're delivering first, not saying I will deliver value if you pay me, but saying I'm going to deliver you value no matter what. And it's in this format that's different than my paid format. That's how you can differentiate. That's how you can build customers through all types of marketing, through every marketing effort you're making. And then the last thing I want to leave people with, and I'll let you get back to your day, Tim, is that marketing should really start to be thought about as communication. Yeah. We think as marketing a lot. When we say marketing, we think sales and we think money. And marketing has nothing to do with money. Money is something separate. Marketing has everything to do with communication. And that's why marketing, you can market yourself. You're not selling yourself. You're not trying to, they use that word also, which I don't like, but you're just communicating with someone about yourself. And it could be for any purpose, right? And sales has really taken over a lot of our language because they're smart people, and it helps their job to use sales words in our everyday life. And it's convinced a lot of people that they have to be thinking in a sales sense to make sales. And you don't. If you're good at communicating, you don't ever have to bring up money, and you will make a lot of money. That's the power of communication. So if you're focused on marketing right now and you haven't started thinking about really it as being something of communication and delivering value through communication and all the different ways that you can do that, I definitely encourage you guys to start thinking about that, and thinking about every type of communication that you do as a form of marketing. So every message you send to anyone is marketing. Every comment that you ever leave on a platform is marketing. And every video, every post that you ever do is marketing. So be aware of the ways that you're already marketing yourself, but maybe not taking active control over that, and just start to optimize. You guys don't have to add anything new into your life. Take what you've already got, work on making it better, and I think you'll be really, really shocked at how you can go incredibly further with the same amount of effort, maybe even less effort once you start optimizing. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Tim. You've been
Thank you.
amazing. Thanks for being our guinea pig here today, and I'm really excited to see your account grow. Have a great one, guys. And we actually are going to be back at 5 p.m. tonight. We have an amazing guest from India who's been on an incredible journey. Really excited to share with you guys.
I'll be there.
Awesome. Love to hear it.